Hi, everyone, and welcome to Ask Christa, the place where you can ask questions about how to work through business challenges and workplace issues. I'm Christa Dhimo, and today's listener question is about the socializer. We've all experienced it at work. An affable, well-meaning coworker who swings by various desks or pops into an office to connect is a good human. And we all need that at work. But boundaries matter. And timing and topic for social time matters too. You may need a social break, but those around you need the quiet time, or maybe vice versa. You're deep into your work, and 20 minutes before you've finished with a task that needs all your focus, you suddenly hear, knock, 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 hey, how's it going? Today's listener question is about how to manage those situations. And as always, I'm going to get you started with what you can do for you first, then offer additional resources so you can go deeper and learn more at your pace. Here's the question. I have a coworker who seems to time his socializing energy right when I start to feel mental momentum. Our office environment is made of half cubicles, which are the short ones where everyone has a line of sight to each other. This means I can see him making his rounds with everyone a few minutes before he gets to me. He works in a different room from us, but we all do analysis work. There are times during the day when everyone needs a mental break, and management encourages us to get up, stretch, walk around, get some water, and check in with each other to make sure we aren't staring at screens all day long. That part of my job is great. We all like our managers, and we all like each other too, including our very social coworker. But there are times when I need to get my work done, and his pop-in hellos are distracting and often frustrate me. I instantly clench up when I see him enter our room. How can I ask my coworker to quit the chit-chat when I'm deep in work? Here's the good news. There are a lot of ways to create and enforce boundaries at work, especially when it comes to getting your work done. But depending on your environment, your culture, and even your personality, it might not be as easy to actually create and enforce boundaries, even though there are a lot of ways you can do it. Take a step back, though, and start with what you want. What is your objective? Are you looking to minimize interruptions during certain times overall? Are you looking for ways to improve awareness across both rooms about whether someone can stop their work to talk? Or are you just looking to guide your coworkers' behavior because that's really the only time a chit-chat style can be disruptive? If it's the latter, then it will be easier and quicker to address your coworkers' behavior directly, and we'll talk about that. But my guess is other people might be struggling with the same issue. And maybe it's time for managers and leaders to provide examples of what a check-in on others culture means and that boundaries matter too. What our listener describes is actually an excellent environment for everyone to find the mix of what it takes to recharge throughout the day. But that needs to include awareness that the time and attention of one coworker's need for a recharge won't be the same for another coworker's need for a recharge, or a need to stop work when they're working really well. There's also the reality of people who want to go into work and produce for 4 hours at a time before they're ready to come up for air. Those who are less inclined to socialize are probably that type, where they work their best in blocks of time, and if they're interrupted, they'll lose momentum. I'm one of those people. I go to work to get good work done, and when I'm in a zone, I produce. I love to socialize, but that's because I'm genuinely curious and interested in others, and it's rarely to recharge. Most times if I need a recharge at work, I'll get up and walk around, change sceneries, and give my brain a real break. I do my best to do nothing, not even socialize. But in this case, it sounds like it's time to establish a few new norms about boundaries so that those deep into their work can stay deep into their work and simply let others know when they're not open for chit-chat. Here are 3 ways to address the issues at work. First option, which I think is the best option because it covers the bigger picture. Have a candid discussion with your manager. That's good information for them to have, that while you appreciate the culture overall and agree that breaks are important and checking in on each other establishes good bonds, there are times when it's actually hard to get your work done if everyone's chit-chatting or if everyone's checking in on each other. See how your manager can guide you because they'll see, or at least they should see, a bigger picture across the team. They may even start a dialogue with the manager of the other room if they are 2 different managers. Go into that meeting prepared to talk about some options for everyone when they have to signal when they're in the ocean, which is my metaphor for the depths of work. Maybe talk a little bit about some of the solutions and some of the ways you can signal to others that I am not open for chit-chat right now. Maybe it's a small orange cone on the top portion of the cubicle, so those deep in work can signal they are in a do not disturb zone. Of course, the managers will have to consider how to handle a coworker who may not want anyone to disturb them throughout the day. And unless the job requires them to chit-chat, their permanent orange cone needs to be respected as a boundary they are creating and enforcing, and the rest of the team cannot take offense to that or judge it. Second option, talk to your coworkers. Collaborate with various teams to determine how to get the most out of social interactions without disrupting workflow. It could look like this. Maybe it's part of your office chit-chat. I've been noticing I lose a lot of focus at certain times during the day. Does that happen to you? I've been thinking of putting in a in deep space sign on my cubicle when I'm in deep to the analysis, and that's to reduce some of the interruptions during those times. What do you think? You may instantly hear other coworkers mention that they've already done something to reduce interruptions that could enable you to learn what they've done and also help to normalize or further normalize that behavior. It could look like, well, I put on headphones. Or maybe they say, no, I just go someplace else and nobody bothers me there. Maybe they change floors in the building, or they've already talked to the highest offenders of interruptions and they can say what they did and how well it went for them. And by talking with your coworkers, without mentioning names, because this isn't about office politics, see episode 44 for that one, you're elevating the trust and opening up in new and different ways when you're talking about solving problems related to inter-team dynamics. You're solving for those dynamics that aren't working, but you're doing so in a trusting and open and constructive way. Option 3, if it's just this one person, then address it directly with your interrupting coworker. Use the BIC method I talked about in episode 16. B is for behavior, the behavior you're observing. I is for impact, the impact the behavior has. And C is for change or continue, and that's your ask. That's what you're asking that person to do. BIC is really effective because it opens up opportunities to provide people with positive reinforcement too. Hey, Christa, when you spoke up and made that point during the meeting, that was a point I know other people wanted to make, but they did not speak up. They weren't comfortable with speaking up. So when you did it, you showed them how comfortable they could be if they talked about it. So me speaking up is the behavior, impact is you showed it and demonstrated to everyone how comfortable it could be that they could speak up. Could you do that more often in the next couple of meetings? That would be the continue piece. So BIC, behavior, impact, continue. Or if you want somebody to change something, behavior, impact, change. In this scenario, it could look like this. Hi, Christa. Got a second? I need your help. One of the things I enjoy the most about working here is how we are encouraged to get up, stretch, walk around, and check in on each other. For some reason, most days when you swing by my desk to talk, I am deep in my work at that time. So when you start asking how things are going, that's the behavior, it disrupts my mental momentum, and I find it really hard to get back in gear after we talk. That's the impact. Could I ask that you hold off on talking until after lunch, because I usually get my big heady work done in the morning. That's the change the time that you're talking to me, but also includes a continue. I want you to continue talking to me. I just want you to do in the afternoon. Not every BIC will include a change and continue, but in this type of situation where there is a cultural norm that for some may feel more as an obligation, to step away from desks and it's suggested to check in on each other. You want to mention that you're open to it, but there are boundaries. For your resources, I experienced something I haven't experienced yet. There aren't a lot of good resources on this topic. Most articles talk about how introverts can survive around extroverts, but this is not an introvert-extrovert issue. It's a focus and distraction issue. It's a self-awareness and read the room issue. It's okay to want social time at work, and in fact, it tends to create higher performing environments with stronger coworker bonds and a higher level of genuine interest in each other, and the shared work and shared goals. There's a higher interest in that too. But most of the articles out there talk about someone who's chatty at work as though they have a character flaw, or they talk about ways to manage it in a very passive-aggressive way or childish way. Well, do it to them. See how they like it. I couldn't believe what I found. But I did find an okay video from Kristen Wright, a communications expert who offers a few tips in a 4-minute video. And of course, it would hardly be an Ask Christa episode if I didn't have an evidence-based resource to offer also. And this was the only study I found. It was about the only anything I found, which again surprised me because chit-chat at work can be such a boost or a drag. The paper is by Method et al. It was published in the Academy of Management Journal in June 2020, and you can request the paper directly from the authors using the link in the show notes. It's a technical paper, but it's an easy read if you do as I always guide you for research. Read the introduction, read the discussion, read the conclusion. Skim the rest. And that's a wrap for episode 45 of season 4. There are 3 more episodes to this season, and then we're in season 5, focused on questions about career growth. Submit your question on my show's site, askchrista.com. That's Christa with a CH, where you'll see all of my episodes listed based on category and season. While you're there, sign up for my More Answers newsletter, where you'll receive additional content on Sunday nights to set you up for the work week. As always, thank you for your support. And remember, if you have a business challenge or workplace issue, ask Christa.